Good evening. We'll start this again because I had to start again because my son banged at the door and was rudely being the typical children. I love them to pieces, but sometimes they can be rude at times as well. The Fabian Society is a British socialist organisation whose purpose is to advance the principles of social democracy and democratic socialism via gradualist and reformist effort in democracies rather than by revolutionary overthrow. Is historically related to some of the furthest left factions of radicalism, a left-wing liberal tradition. It was formed in the 4th of January 1884, which is 141 years ago. That is a long anyway. The other unincorporated membership association their purpose is to promote greater equality of power, wealth, and opportunity, the value of collective action and public service, which is true, and accountable, tolerant, and active democracy, citizenship, liberty, and human rights, sustainable development, and multilateral international cooperation. And also their headquarters is in London, and their membership is 8,000, and their official language is English. Their general secretary is Joe Drummy, son of Jack. Chair is Sonia Adesra. Vice Chairs Luke John Davis. Treasurer Paul Richard. And it's the main organ executive committee. It's subsidiaries Young Fabian, Fabian's Women's Network, Scottish Fabians, around 60 local Fabian societies. The affiliations are with Labour Foundation for European Progressive Studies, and it's got a website as well. I don't know if you can join up or what. I'm not exactly sure how that goes. But I wouldn't because they're part of. It's like just now in Labour, it's the Prime Minister is Keir Starmer, and so but who is in power of Labour is actually Tony Blair, who's part of the WF. Now their role is to look good, say the things that they've been told, and think, but is to destroy the economics and the foundations and actually conquer and divide people in the UK, and they'll have all the arguments. So this is how you've got both sides arguing rather than actually coming together. I mean, when you think about it, people are arguing for the right things, but the wrong things at the same time. And when they've done, when it was lockdown, that was a test of to see if you would abide by the rules. And what did we do? We abide by the rules. Everything, but that was all a big lie. There wasn't anything to do. It was just to see how everything went, because it's the biggest players in this is like Tony Blair, Bill Gates, Klaus Schwab, Fauci, Soros. Soros is, I swear that guy has got his hands in a lot of things. I'm not even kidding. All here is that man's name been having his hand here, there, and everywhere. Bill Gates is another. He's saying, "Oh, we'll help the children, we'll do this and do that." Now he wants to come to the UK to help block out the sun. Yes, you heard it right. They have done a deal with the UK to help block out the sun. They've come out and said that they're doing this thing. So, as one of the the founding organisations, the Labour Representation Committee in 1900 is an important influence which the Labour Party grew from it. The Fabian Society has strongly influenced British politics. Members of the Fabian Society has influenced political leaders from other countries such as Jawaharlal Nehru and Lee Kuan Yew. And I think, I don't know if I pronounced their names right, so I do apologise. I don't know if they're Chinese or Japanese, so I don't know, who adopted Fabian principles as part of their own political ideologies. The Fabian Society founded the London School of Economics in 1895, and you think how long this has been going for? It's like, it is absolutely mad to think that these sort of things, and you get the Freemasons, this, which has been hiding in the background, and these people are with your judges, your lawyers, the police, they're in the military, so they're all, and obviously in, they're your MPs. So when you look at your MPs, you'll go, are you part of that? They're not going to tell you because it's not part of it. Today the society functions primarily as a think tank and is one of the 20 socialist societies affiliated with the Labour Party. Similar societies exist in Australia, Canada, New Zealand and Italy. Is the established Fabian Society was named after Fabius the Delayer at the suggestion of Frank Broadmoor. The Fabian Society was founded on the 4th of January 1884, and London is an offshoot of a society founded a year earlier called the Fellowship of the New Life, which had a forebearer of the British ethical and humanist movements. Early fellowship members included the visionary Victorian era elite, among them the poets Edward Carpenter. I've never heard it. I mean, I've read a lot of poems and I've never heard these people. And John Davison, the sexologist, whatever that, Havelock Ellis, and the early socialist Edward R. Pease. They wanted to transform society by setting an example of clean, simplified living for others to follow. That means themselves. Some members also wanted to become politically involved to aid society's transformation. They set up a separate society, the Fabian Society. All members were free to attend both societies. The Fabian Society additionally advocated renewal of Western European resistance ideas and their promulgation throughout the world. It's like they've all come together. You think of the UN, the EU, the ECHR, and also have named others like Bill Gates, Starmer, Tony Blair. They're all part of this. And I'm trying to remember, was it before or after Tony Blair? I think he's Scottish. He was an MP. We became Prime Minister, obviously. Gordon Brown. I don't know if he's part of this or not. I'm not sure. But the Fellowship of the New Life was dissolved in 1899. But the Fabian Society grew to become a leading academic society in the United Kingdom. In the Edwardian era, it is typified by the members of its vanguard Coefficients Club. Public meetings of the society were for many years held at Essex Hall, a popular location just off the Strand in central London. I don't know whereabouts that is because I've never visited London. I would like to, but not at the moment. Obviously, it's got its own plaque where where it is and things like that. The Fabian Society was named at the suggestion of Frank Podmore in honour of the Roman general Quintus Fabius Maximus Veracruz, nicknamed Concoctor, meaning the delayer. His Fabian strategy sought gradual victory against the superior Caesarian army under the renowned General Hannibal through persistence, harassment, and wearing the enemy down. We're just wearing them down rather than pitched climatic battles. Now, what are they doing just now? We're talking about climate, which is a scam. Everything that they talk about is just it's divide and conquer, and that is they've been doing for so long, and they're doing it through religions and they're doing it through politicals, and they've been doing it for a long time, and they've got the people like ourselves, working class, arguing between each other, and a lot of the points that arguing with when it's to do with the governmentals that have divided us. That's why I always say come together united rather than divided, because now they're talking about digital ID, digital currency banking system, ULZ, which they've got up, in the 15-minute or depending on what city you're in, 20-minute cities. And this is done on purpose. Now they're saying the digital ID is for people coming off the boats or whatever way they come here, so we know what people anyway, but it's not. It's an absolute lie. Now we have got birth certificates, which is through a straw man. We were lied about that as well. We've got our driving license, and we've got our passports. We don't need this. This is all about control. This is in party. If you look on the manifesto of WF, that is part of what it is. And if you listen to what Klaus Schwab said before he resigned, but he didn't resign, he was pushed out and forced to resign, to be honest with you, because he was swindling money. An explanation note appearing on the title page of the group's first pamphlet declared, "For the right moment, you must wait," as the Phoebes did most patiently when warring against Hannibal, though many censured his delays. But when the time comes, you must strike hard as Phoebes did, or your waiting will be in vain and fruitless. Does that sound very familiar to you guys? Its 9 founding members were Frank Broadmer, Edward R. Pease, William Clark, Hubert Bland, Percival Chubb. How does that name ring a bell? Does anybody know that name? Percival Chubb. It rings a bell. How have I heard that name? I think I've read that in some books somewhere. Frederick Kendall, H. Champion, Edith Nesbit. That name rings a bell somewhere. I think I've read that as well. I think it might be in the philosophy books, maybe. I've read Rosamond Dale Owen, Havelock Ellis is sometimes also mentioned as the 10th founding member, although there is some question about this. Its organisational growth. Immediately upon its inception, the Fabian Society began attracting many prominent contemporary figures drawn to its socialist cause, including George Bernard Shaw, H. G. Wells, Annie Besant, Graham Wallas, Charles Marston, Sidney Oliver, Oliver Lodge, Ramsay MacDonald, Emmeline Pankhurst, Bernard Russell briefly became a member, but resigned after he expressed his belief that the Society's principal entry in this case between countries allying themselves against Germany could lead to war. It's just it's an absolute joke, this place. At this core of Fabian Society, where Sidney and Beatrice Webb together they wrote numerous studies of industrial Britain, including alternative cooperative economics that apply to ownership of capital as well as land. See, what they're doing is they want you to own nothing and be happy. So if you've worked hard and you've worked very hard and you own your own home, you will no longer own it. They will. If you own your own land, you won't. They will. It's about divide and conquer, divide and conquer. And it's them. It's just totally greed, which is wrong. It needs to stop. As I say, we're all equal in this world. Many Fabians participated in the formation of the Labour Representation Committee in the 1900s, and the group's constitution, written by Sidney Webb, borrowed heavily from the founding documents at the Fabian Society. At the meeting that founded the Labour Representation Committee in 1900, the Fabian Society claimed 861 members and sent one delegate. The years 1903 to 1908 saw a growth in popular interest in the socialist idea in Britain, and the Fabian Society grew accordingly, trebling its membership to nearly 2,500 by the end of the period, half of whom were located in London in 1912. That was during the First World War. A student section was organised called the University Socialist Federation, USF, and by the outbreak of the World War I in 1914, the contingent counted its own membership of more than 500. Obviously, they've got the Fabians Women Group was founded on the 14th of March 1908. That was just before my mum's mum was born. To create a stronger link between women's suffrage and socialism. It operated until 1948, so what happened after that then? Letitia Fairfield was a member and spoke to Brian Harrison about joining the group in their lectures and discussions as part of the Suffrage Interviews project titled Oral Evidence on the Suffragette and Suffragist Movements, the Brian Harrison Interviews. Earlier Fabian views. The Fabian Society pamphlets advocating tenets of social justice coincided with the zeitgeist of liberal reforms, including the earlier 1900s. This includes eugenics. Eugenics was commonly held at the time. The Fabian proposals, however, were considerably more progressive than those that were enacted in the liberal reform legalisation. The Fabians lobbied for the introduction of a minimum wage in 1906, for the creation of a universal healthcare system in 1911, and the abolition of heresy period uses in 1917. Agnes Herbin and Henry Devonish Harbin were among Fabians advocating women's emancipation and supporting suffrage movements in Britain and internationally. Um, Now, obviously, there's probably anybody in, I think, but it's about, as I say, divide and conquer. And they've got people like Anne Stanwell in it, and they've definitely got part of that is Sadiq Khan is supposed to be in this as well. Not sure if it's true or not, so don't quote me in that. But if you want, obviously you'd have to go to that lawyer's thing. His name's Steve. I know his first name's Stephen. It's he speaks so high. Like I've seen him on other YouTubers, and I do now follow him myself. Fabian socialists were in favour of reforming the foreign policy of the British Empire as a conduit for internationalist reform, and they were in favour of a capitalist welfare state modelled on the Bismarckian German model. They criticised Gladstonian liberalism, both for its individualism at home and its nationalism abroad. They favoured a national minimum wage in order to stop British industries compensating for their inefficiency by lowering wages instead of investing in capital equipment, slum clearances, and a health service in order for the breeding of even a moderately imperial race, which would be more productive and a better military than the stunned academic, demoralised denizens of our great cities and a national education system, because it is in the classrooms that the future battles of the empire for commercial prosperity are already being lost. Look, when you read some of that stuff, some of it sounds, oh, that sounds really good. But look what they're doing. Look what Labour have done. Look what Conservatives, Liberals, what they've done to our society. They're raising taxes, and the pensioners are dying in their homes and things like that with cold. People are lying on the streets. So it's like there's some amount of homeless, and that's wrong. And we shouldn't have homeless. We shouldn't have anybody homeless on the streets. We should be helping these people rather than having them. Because if you help these people, these could be people that could get home. They could have work rather than them being on the street, cold, hungry, and end up to get away from the trauma. It's taking drinking drugs because they don't know any better. In the 1900s, the Society of the Production of Fabianism in the Empire, the first statement of its views on foreign affairs, drafted by Bernard Shaw, that name rounds a bell as well, and incorporating the suggestion of 150 Fabian members. It was directed against the liberal individualism of those such as John Morley and Sir William Harcourt. It claimed that the classical liberal political economy was outdated and that imperialism was a new stage of the international polity. The question was whether Britain would be the centre of a world empire or whether it would lose its colonies and end up as just two islands in the North Atlantic. Expressed support for Britain in the Boer War because small nations such as the Boers were anarchisms in the age of empires. we're going to stop it there because there's so much to read. Because again, with a lot of people just hanging, and I've just wondered, it's like, what the heck is this all about? I want to learn, because even though it's hanging, it's part of history, and it's something I'm interested in. Is learning, and I like to learn about things in past like this. But look what they've turned it around into today with this. Now, wait, guys, you need to wake up. Cash is king. Say no, anyway, say no to digital ID. I will not comply, and I will not consent at all to WF's and these people's crazy ideas. I really do think these people do need to go to some therapy or something, honestly, for the way they treat people. It's not right at all. You need to treat people with a lot of respect. You really do. It's like, I could never treat somebody the way they treat somebody. That's wrong. I think it's just the way I've been brought up. It's like, it's always respect somebody even when they don't respect you. It's not, I don't like what they do when they don't wish anybody any harm in life. But we need to get these people out of Parliament and stop this craziness. There's a thing online, and I've seen all different people signing it. It's just stop this digital ID. So please sign it, guys. I have signed it myself, so please sign it. And let's come together, as I've always said, together, united rather than divided. And if you want to hear any more, I'll read more. But to get into, also people speak more eloquently than what I do. I'm autistic, I'm partially deaf, so it comes, and there's big words that I will try and pronounce them, even though, I mean, at least I'm trying. But if I remember, and if I do, I'll do another video. I'll write the gentleman's name down, and you can go to his videos and learn firsthand, and he'll explain it so much better than I can. So sending love and light, and good night.